Josh, it looks like you're walking.
I am walking, but I
You're
could be
walking.
walking and talking if need be.
That's all right. I'm driving, so I'm not going to be on camera because nobody needs to see me swearing at other drivers at this point in
Yeah,
time. But the
and luckily,
main guy is Sam Rabati. He'll be on in a few minutes.
all right. And
Yeah.
I
Hey,
usually
Matt,
don't
I'm
swear
on.
while I'm walking.
Oh, there's Sam.
Good afternoon. Good, actually, it's evening time. Good evening. My apologies for the delay. I was not trying to take this call
Recording in progress.
from the car. So, Josh, it's good to see you.
Likewise.
I think it's only going to be you and I, sir, on the committee meeting. So we can begin. I would like to call this special Quality Life and Public Safety Committee meeting to order for today, Thursday, September 21st, 2023. We are streaming live on HPA-TV.org, channel 96 Comcast, and channel 6032 on Frontier. And you also can take a look at our meetings on the social media pages of Facebook and YouTube of Hartford Public Access TV. My name is the Majority Leader, TJ Clark. I serve as the chair of the Quality Life and Public Safety Committee. We are joined by Councilman Josh Mitchum, who is a voting member of this committee, and we are joined by our member of the Corporation Council, Attorney Natalie Fiola Guerreri, and we have some guests here with us. I do not see Director Webster here, so we can forego her presentation. Chiefs Barkle and Thody send their regrets. They are unable to be here tonight due to some conflicting scheduling issues, but however, they have sent their presentation, which Sadea Lee has sent out to the rest of the members of the committee for their review. And I think we are going to move with our also have a invited guest under the public safety under public safety, which is Sam Rabati. He is one of the government I would say relations presidents for Motorola. And so Sam, you may take it away.
Excellent. Thank you so much, TJ. And thank you, folks, for your time this evening. I'm going to try to keep it brief, and I'm really hoping there's a little bit more of a dialogue here to try to answer some of your questions. I did have a chance to speak to TJ a little bit in terms of how we want to structure this and what kind of information that we'd like to pass along on, I'll call it one of your sister cities, Yonkers, New York, that we did a lot of work with that I'm hoping you'll find of interest. Some of the things we've done there, I think it's been very successful. And there's you'll hear kind of a recurring theme as to what we were trying to do there, which is the partnership, trying to allow them to achieve the goals that they were looking to achieve in terms of keeping their community safe, keeping a lid on crime in the city. Again, my name is Sam Rabati. I am on what Motorola refers to as the industry team. There are 7 of us on that team. I've been with Motorola for 6 years. I'm a retired law enforcement professional. I spent the vast majority of my career with the U.S. Secret Service and ATF. I retired out of our Philadelphia division as the special agent in charge there. So have a lot of background, a lot of experience, mostly in the area of violent crime. But all that experience really gave me a good insight into some of the strategies that are out there, and really a little bit what you're going to hear about today with technology. What we've done with technology in the last 4 or 5 years is really amazing, and really, I'd like to think, starting to help us transform some of these vulnerable communities within our cities. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll take it away. And just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight kind of what we did in Yonkers, but really using that as an example. I think they probably come pretty close to approximating kind of the size and scope of the city of Hartford, very close in terms of geographical area and population. But we're going to talk to you a little bit about what we did to support their efforts in maintaining kind of some historic lows for the city over the last couple of years in terms of crime, but in particular, violent crime. And when you look at a lot of the statistics of similarly sized cities, and especially in the last 2 or 3 years, with unfortunately and sadly violent crime rates really creeping up, Yonkers has actually gone in the other direction and has actually pushed their crime rates lower. How do they do that? I think it's a combination of things. It certainly is that partnership with the community. But also a couple of things that I'd like to discuss a little bit deeper. If I may, I just want to show you this quick video that the city did in the last couple of years with our partnership with them.
Is there sound here? Because I'm not hearing it.
Are you not getting the sound?
No, and maybe it's just me, but I'm only seeing the video moving with no sound.
Okay, so I think we're going to have to dispense with the video. My apologies. I'm not sure why the sound is not coming through. All right, my apologies there. So let's just continue along then with the slideshow. So really, the essence of the video, it's a 2-minute video. There is commentary from the mayor of Yonkers, Mayor Mike Spano, the director of IT, the police commissioner, and some other officials from the city. And essentially, the messaging there on the video and what they've been trying to do in the last 2 or 3 years is to continue to solidify that relationship with the community. A lot of discussion on transparency from not only the city, but in particular with the police department, and really trying to firmly establish that partnership, community and the police department. So what we did to support and bolster those efforts is coming to them with a plan to kind of centralize a lot of their data. Okay. These are our existing technologies that they had, some of them were new in terms of what Motorola brought to the table. So really what we're talking about is combining data streams from all different areas, whether it's license plate readers, video cameras in the city, different type of software systems that they have, radio communications, all essentially to unify that data to create what we call in public safety situational awareness, so that there's an understanding of what's going on in real time in the city. The policing strategy of Yonkers and why they've done a really good job in the last few years of kind of not just keeping a lid on crime, but actually showing decreases in crime is a concept. I'm sure you may have heard of it, emanating out of New York City, is that precision policing model. And Yonkers really bought into that. And essentially what that was is a recognition that a very, very small number of individuals essentially causing the vast majority of crime in their city, in particular violent crime. But not just violent crime, a lot of quality of life types of crimes, whether it's a car break-in. I know the example when I first met with the commissioner, he talked about if they can focus in on that 1 or 2 folks who are breaking into like 20 or 25 cars over a week, and they come to find out it's essentially that one person who perhaps has a substance abuse problem, and focus in their efforts to not only identify that one person, but get them arrested and into, whether it's treatment or into obviously removal from the streets so they can stop committing these crimes. Well, as a result, now they would have such a large impact on that type of crime occurring. So you essentially have the one individual who was responsible for 15 to 20 car break-ins. You've now removed that. You've removed a big chunk of that type of crime off the books. So that precision policing model, we understood what they were trying to accomplish, and we brought forward some solutions to help them address that, some different types of technologies. The other thing that they were really focused in on is not just having an understanding in real time, but having the ability to, again, look at all these different systems that not only that they were contemplating, but systems that they already had at their disposal, whether it was fixed video systems located throughout the city, radio communications, their body-worn cameras. They had recently gone to body-worn cameras, and they wanted to be very transparent with not only what they were recording, but in particular in type of critical type of incidents and situations, is to be able to quickly push that information on that incident out to the public. So really what they were trying to do is provide that, what we call in public safety, common operating picture. In addition to support for their law enforcement personnel in the field in real time, they also wanted to have to continue to strengthen the relationship with the community. So our Command Central portal has a solution within it called Command Central Community. A lot of key features to it that you could see on your screen here, but the bottom line is really enhancing that citizen experience in their communication with the department. It's essentially giving them a simple touch point, how they can provide anonymous tip information to the police department, establishing that open communication back and forth to give updates on a particular incident, a public crime map that if I'm living in my neighborhood and I want to know, hey, what's going on with potential car break-ins, that I can look at this crime map and look at information that's already approved by the department for its release, so that citizens can actually look and see what's going on in my community. Is there something I should be aware of? In addition to that, the ability to provide online police reporting for those non-emergency type situations. So again, providing that mechanism, that platform where it's going to enhance that communication with the neighborhoods that the department serves. So this was a big piece to them, this Command Central Community portion of the solution, to again strengthen that bond with the community that the department serves. The other thing, and again, what I want to do is I want to just kind of highlight what I think were some of the most important factors for the city on some of the technologies that they put into place. The other one is, and this was again right after the COVID lockdowns, is when we first started our discussions with the city. And there was a big emphasis on distance learning, and a portion of the city that really needed that type of capability for kids who were now having to do distance learning from home, and being able to provide that connectivity in some of these homes, so that you can kind of try to level that playing field with students who may be in a different part of the city and have that ability. The mayor felt very strongly about putting into place what we call this private LTE network called Nitro. So that was a part of what we also did in the city. And they really derived a lot of benefit from that, for not only for the students in that part of the city, but also some of the businesses were able to take advantage of that private LTE network. Video security was a big piece of the strategy for Yonkers. So you're gonna hear a little bit more in the next few slides, and when we talk about, you know, what we're able to do with our, not just the video cameras, but the analytics that powers that camera. Same thing with license plate readers. You'll hear about in down the line here as we go through the presentation. But within the the strategy as it related to cameras, the city already had kind of a network of loosely placed cameras in different parts of the city. Some of them were pretty old. Some of them were fairly new cameras, but really not a great emphasis on trying to develop a strategy of how it can be used in everyday operations. So what you see here depicted on the map, this is just a sampling of how they place the cluster of these fixed video cameras. And along with these fixed video cameras is the ability to apply analytics to these cameras. What is analytics? Essentially, it's being able to use artificial intelligence to look at a particular scene, something that's going on that the camera has a view on, and be able to determine when there's an anomaly. You know, maybe there's unusual activity going on. Maybe something is occurring that the end user may not necessarily see or hear. The camera is really doing the work for that end user. It's identifying anomalies in the video stream. In addition, there may be some restricted areas that you want your attention focused in on when somebody violates that area. So a big push, a big emphasis on furthering that landscape of fixed video cameras. So the way we do it, it's not just on the Motorola cameras. We are able to apply what we call this AI NVR, which really applies analytics to their existing cameras. So it's not, you know, we didn't go in there and say, hey, toss out all your existing cameras. To the contrary, we utilized their cameras as long as they were compliant with camera standards that are universal right now, and being able to apply the analytics to those cameras. So this is just an example. If you could see on this slide, this is one of our digital zoom cameras. And the beauty of this camera is it's capturing the entire scene that you could see above in the upper left-hand corner, but it's splitting the viewpoint so that you can capture different areas within that scene without losing the focus on the overall scene. So you can be looking in this particular area here, and you're zooming in perhaps on where this police vehicle is, or perhaps you're looking at a particular individual that's seated in these seats, but then you don't lose the overall scene. Very, very powerful. So in essence, what you're doing is you're taking the one camera and you're turning it into 4, 5, or 6 different cameras. So that really helped them to maximize their coverage of different parts of the city, so that now instead of in one part of the city, you know, having to focus in on putting 10 or 15 cameras, maybe I can get away with it with 4 or 5 cameras. Very, very helpful. I know the issue of illegal dumping has come up in some of our prior conversations. This is an actual case that we were supporting the New York City Sanitation Department on illegal dumping. And again, this is what we call analytics, where you see these bounding boxes. These bounding boxes focus in on individuals and on vehicles. And it helps to identify what we call object classification. Is it a person? Is it a vehicle? Or is it an animal? And in these incidents where the camera is looking for anomalies, it recognizes when an individual, as you can see here in the video, it's recognizing that this is not normal behavior for this person to be unloading stuff and to be dumping it on the side of the road, especially at night. So the camera, which has learned the scene, is identifying when something unusual is occurring. So the city, during this pilot phase that we were working with them, it helped them to identify illegal dumping that was going on, and they were actually able to make some arrests as a result of using the analytics that are in these cameras. And again, this is just a still shot of how the analytics works. Again, it focuses in on vehicles, on people. We're not as concerned about animals in this situation. So it's classifying who's in the video frame. And again, it's looking for anomalies. And essentially what we're doing is we're telling the camera, hey, anything that occurs in this zone that is unusual in nature, again, i.e. somebody taking stuff out of the back of the truck and dumping it on the side of the road, it immediately sends an alarm to the end user. Same thing here. If there's a secure facility that you wanted to focus in on, and if anybody enters into this grayed out area on the viewpoint of the camera, it's automatically going to issue an alarm. So this was very, very powerful for Yonkers, that they were able to utilize this technology and kind of make it like a force multiplier for the city and for the police department. We offer the cameras, in this case with NYPD, as well as a number of other municipalities with covert enclosures. It's kind of disguised as a utility box. Just some of the different ways and the different things that we can do, whether it's overt, meaning we want the public to see the cameras, or in areas where we have issues and problems like illegal dumping, we can provide covert enclosures to disguise the camera so that nobody is messing around with the camera and people are not aware that it's there. And then finally, the final area I wanted to focus in on is LPR, license plate reader technology is what it's called. Major City Chiefs Association just had a working group complete its work, and these are representatives obviously from the private sector, including Motorola was a part of this committee, but it's law enforcement executives from a lot of the major cities throughout the country. So this working group looked at license plate recognition and its use as a investigative tool to really help to combat criminal activity. And they came out with this study with a number of recommendations showing that it was a very valuable tool. I'll skip through a couple of these slides here in the interest of time, but essentially what separates the Motorola system is its extensive database. We have well over 60 billion records within our database. The next closest competitor is probably at around 2 or 3 billion. And the reason for that is a large part of what we have within our system is what we call commercial information, commercial scans. And that's a lot of those, the repossession agents, your bank investigators. It's more on the commercial side, not necessarily law enforcement. And you could see here just statistics. City of Hartford, I just ran these stats last week. They were at 76 million scans, okay? In the last 60 days, just in the city of Hartford, and again, this is just commercial data, not law enforcement data, 2.8 million. State of Connecticut, a total of 565 million. So you could see from some of these stats that it is an extensive database, and for investigators is extremely valuable when they're conducting their investigations. A crime was committed with a vehicle to really help identify that vehicle. What we did in Yonkers is something, a concept that we worked with them to establish what we call a virtual LPR fence. And essentially, these are strategically placed LPR cameras. Yonkers is the third largest city in the state. I think at last count, they probably had about 104 cameras. They have some of their own that existed already, a system called Open Alper, but the vigilant cameras, we provided them with approximately 75 cameras. Again, they're not at every corner. To the contrary, it's the cameras are located at many of your entrances and exits off the highways into the city and your major thoroughfares. So they're strategic by design where you place them, but you don't need a ton of these cameras. As a result of the project we've done with them, according to the police department statistics, they feel they have about 90% coverage within the city in terms of vehicles coming in and out of the city. So from a law enforcement standpoint, that is critically important when you're trying to identify, like what just happened about a month ago, where unfortunately and sadly a 78-year-old was struck at an intersection in a hit and run, and the vehicle took off. Within about 4.5 minutes, the police department was able to identify the vehicle that had committed the hit and run, and the person was eventually taken into custody several hours later. So, this strategy really does work. And when you combine it with everything that I just showed you, including the fixed video systems, they really become very, very powerful tools And when you combine it with that precision policing strategy we're talking about, it's really marrying the technology with the law enforcement strategy, and really supporting and bolstering those efforts in that precision policing model. And again, this is just an example of how this all works. I want to keep it short here on the presentation. I think that was my last one, actually. The only other thing I wanted to add before I finish up here, obviously I work for Motorola. It was 29 years in public safety, but the last several years with Motorola. What I would offer here is, because we do have a good relationship with the city of Yonkers, we can help to facilitate some of the introductions with both the police department as well as the mayor and his folks within City Hall. I feel the best way to get an unfiltered, unbiased viewpoint of what a system can do and if it's working for the city is to speak to your own colleagues. So we can certainly help with that effort. I feel pretty confident and very, very proud of what we were able to achieve in Yonkers, because this stuff really does work. So more than happy to facilitate some of these introductions and have you speak to your peers. That's all I have in my presentation, TJ. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sam, for your presentation.
Yeah, can you, oh, there we go. Yeah, you stopped sharing your screen. Thank you.
And we do thank you for your time that you have, and also to your thorough presentation on the work that you've done and collaborated, excuse me, with the city of Yonkers. Would love to take you up on your offer to reach out to assist with reaching out to the city of Yonkers for a further conversation, dialogue about the technology used in a multifaceted of ways. And I think we know that we have some of the similar technology, but it seems like there's, from my standpoint, in dealing with some quality of life issues such as illegal dumping that's taking place in a number of areas in our city. I think that technology would be most helpful to assist our public works team and as well as our health department and our police department on really tackling some of these issues. I will open up the floor for a conversation with any of my colleagues. I want to recognize as well Councilman Nick LeBron, who is a member of the committee. Councilman Mitchell.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. I guess my question, Mr. Rabati, is I don't quite understand what you're offering us as a service. From what you're telling me about the number of cameras Yonkers has, like, we're a city with a little over half the population of Yonkers. We already have more cameras than they have. We have a very expensive and fancy system that brings all of that data together and does lots of recording. We just appropriated a bunch of money to create a Slack channel that's supposed to help people report crime for some reason. So have you looked at what we have and you're telling us you can add into that in some concrete way? Because we already spend a ton of money on surveilling our citizens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what I was trying to do, and I apologize, I probably force-fed you a ton of information on Yonkers. I think the key takeaway there is how the technology is applied. So take, for example, license plate reader technology. We went beyond, oh, here's a camera and we're going to sell you as a company, we're going to sell you a camera and go ahead and put it on this corner. Rather, it was more about the strategy and the use of the tools. Like I tell folks, when it comes to a license plate scan, a scan is a scan is a scan. Who cares? It's about the analytics behind it and how can the analytics power investigations. The same holds true for surveillance cameras, or what we call fixed video cameras. It's the analytics behind it and strategically placing those cameras in certain areas and letting the analytics do the work for you, being your kind of your eyes and ears. The video analytics, again, is really what makes the big difference. I know right now the police department utilizes BriefCam as one of their tools. that is part of our system, BriefCam. So again, when you take these different components and really understanding how analytics comes into play, that's the key factor. It's more about how you use the technology more than the actual hardware.
And let me ask another question. You talked about the license plate readers and the vast trove of records and data that they draw on. Who checks all those data for accuracy? Because it's a thing that happens around the country, is that some wrong entry of a name in another state, can get somebody arrested, their car impounded, them incarcerated for days or weeks on end. What's the fail-safe? What's the protection?
So our fail-safe within our system, we adhere to what's called the CJIS standards, Criminal Justice Information System, which is what the FBI has for safeguards within the integrity of the data that's in the system. We hold no what's called PII, personally identifiable information. It's strictly a scan of the plate of a vehicle, which is time and date stamped. The police department then has the ability to take that information and go through NCIC and do anything additional that they have to do. So we are merely capturing the plate, the time, the date, and the location of where that scan occurred. We have close to almost 99% accuracy rates with the scans that we do. Again, we have to, sir. As Motorola, we're a pretty big company. We don't play games with that. We're a very diverse company in terms of our products and solutions. So we apply our own strict standards to the accuracy of our equipment. So I'm not sure how to exactly answer that, but again, what you described there, really, there would be no way of that happening within our system. It's just, again, a snapshot or a picture of the plate and where that car was.
I think so. In other words, you don't have, for example, the information about, well, this car was stolen in X place. What you have is just many, many, many pictures of plates all over, and you could combine Hartford's data with Yonkers data with, Austin, Texas's data, and you could say, this car, here's where this car has gone. Basically.
Exactly, which in criminal investigations is critical, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to identify a plate. If I have a hit and run, and like the example I used in Yonkers, and I think they said it was a red Mustang with Florida tags. So we were able to take that information through our analytics and be able to identify the plate. Now that you have the plate, and keep in mind, it's probable cause, you still have to corroborate as an investigator, and I did this for 29 years, any lead you get, you have to corroborate, and now do your investigation and identify that vehicle. So we don't put any registered owner, addresses, anything like that attached to the scan. We simply provide you the scan and the tools to drill down to see, where's this vehicle been. We have close to 3,000 law enforcement agencies that share the information, heavy concentration in the Northeast. And that information sharing is critically important when you're trying to identify a vehicle that was used in the crime.
How much does all this cost?
So I'm not in that part of the business on sales, but we could certainly, depending on what you would be looking for, we can get some of our folks from sales and to basically customize what it is that you'd be looking for. I know you all already have a footprint with fixed LPR cameras in the city. What I'm showing you here is a little bit more of a focus on the analytics that I know you don't have. And to me, to be honest with you, that's probably the most important thing, is the analytics that powers those scans. So that's probably something you may, the folks in the police department may want to look at, is the analytical tools.
And I just wanted to add that there is no RFPs that are open, that Motorola has not applied to anything with the city of Hartford, with the Hartford Police Department. Right now, this is just about information sharing and how other tools that will be accessible, can be accessible to the city of Hartford at a time whenever an RFP opportunity avails itself.
Yes.
Any other questions? None? Okay. Well, Sam, thank you very much for your presentation. And let's stay in touch and how we can speak with other colleagues, our counterparts up in Yonkers on their results of your assistance by helping them tackle some quality of life issues.
Absolutely. Anytime. And thank you everyone for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
All right. Director Webster's still not on. All right. So we're going to move on with our agenda. Item number 4 and 5, just want to preface that neither the council president or Councilman Gale are here, who are the makers of the resolution. Well, one resolution, one ordinance. So for item number 4, I will move to entertain a motion for postponement.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilman Mission to postpone. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman LeBron. Any discussions on this matter? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of postponement indicate by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. It's unanimous. This item is postponed. By the way, Councilman LeBron, happy anniversary to you and your lovely bride.
Thank you very much.
You
30
really
years.
That's a milestone.
How long? How
30.
long you said?
30.
years.
Yeah.
My grandmother would always say on anniversaries, 30 years and still on speaking terms. So I hope that's how it's going for you.
Yeah, still on speaking terms. Yeah.
Should not be spending time with us right now.
Seriously.
Correct.
And with item number 5, same thing. The makers are not here, so I will move for entertain a motion for postponement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second for postponement. Any discussions? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. It's unanimous. This item is postponed. Motorola has already presented, which was item number 6. So since we have no other business to discuss at this time, this committee meeting is now adjourned. So thank you very much. Have a good evening and enjoy your holiday weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Not holiday weekend. There's no holiday. I'm sorry. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.
The next
Thank
it's
you.
the next weekend. But yes.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Take care.
Wow.